Under the moon and the stars so bright, we claim our power and
Welcome
love our
to Love
light.
Thyself Witch.
Welcome to the moonlight. Come in.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome back to the cottage, my loves. Happy National Women's Day. Oh, I have been looking forward to this one. Today we're honoring 5 incredible women from history. Women who changed the world with nothing but their brilliance, their courage, and their refusal to sit down and be quiet. Ooh! Are we doing a history lesson? I love history lessons.
You love everything. You love that dust bunny I found under the bookshelf yesterday.
He was fluffy and he had a name, Cosmo. All right. Yes, Bubbles, we're doing a history lesson. But not just any history lesson. These are women who, in my humble witchy opinion, carried real magic inside them. They didn't need wands or spells. They had something even more powerful.
Their minds.
Exactly, Nova. Their minds, their hearts, and their unshakable will. So settle in. Light a candle if you've got one. Let's begin. Our first woman takes us all the way back to ancient Alexandria, around 370 AD. Her name was Hypatia, and she was extraordinary.
Hypatia was one of the last great scholars of the Library of Alexandria. She was a philosopher, a mathematician, and an astronomer, at a time when women were expected to be none of those things.
Picture this, a woman standing in front of a lecture hall full of men. Senators, philosophers, students, and every single one of them is hanging on her every word. She taught them about the movement of the stars, the nature of numbers, the philosophy of existence itself. People traveled from across the ancient world just to study under her. She must have been so smart. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And she didn't hide it. She didn't shrink herself to make anyone else comfortable. She walked through the streets of Alexandria in her scholar's robes, debating anyone who dared. And she did it with grace.
She was also deeply respected by leaders of multiple faiths, Christian, pagan, and others. She was seen as a neutral voice of reason in a city torn by religious and political conflict.
But that's what made her dangerous to the wrong people. In 415 AD, Hypatia was murdered by a mob. They killed her because she was too influential, too outspoken, too powerful.
They killed her for being smart?
They killed her for being a woman who refused to be silent. And that, my loves, is exactly why we remember her. Because even though they took her life, they could never take what she represented. That women have always belonged in rooms of knowledge. We didn't just arrive, we were always there. Hypatia. She was the original witch of wisdom. And we carry her torch every single time we pick up a book, ask a question, or refuse to let someone make us feel small. Now we're jumping forward, way forward, to the 1800s in America. And if Hypatia was the witch of wisdom, then Harriet Tubman was the witch of liberation.
Harriet Tubman was born into slavery around 1822 in Maryland. She endured unspeakable cruelty from childhood, including a traumatic head injury inflicted by an overseer that caused her seizures and visions for the rest of her life.
And here's the thing. Those visions, Harriet believed they were messages from God. She said she could see things before they happened. She had dreams that guided her path. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to believe, but a woman with prophetic visions who leads people to freedom under the cover of night using the stars as her map? That sounds like magic to me.
That sounds like the most dangerous woman alive is what that sounds like.
Oh, she was. In 1849, Harriet escaped slavery on her own, traveling nearly 90 miles on foot by night following the North Star. And when she finally reached freedom in Philadelphia, do you know what she did? She turned right back around.
She went back?
She went back, again and again and again. Over 13 missions, Harriet personally led over 70 people to freedom through the Underground Railroad, a secret network of safe houses and hidden routes. She never lost a single passenger.
She also served as a spy and scout for the Union Army during the Civil War, becoming the first woman in American history to lead an armed military raid. The Combahee River Raid of 1863, which freed over 700 enslaved people.
700 in one night. And after the war, she fought for women's suffrage right alongside Susan B. Anthony and other leaders. Harriet Tubman didn't just free herself. She spent her entire life freeing others.
And she had a bounty on her head the whole time. Thousands of dollars. They never caught her.
Never. She once said, "I was the conductor of the Underground Railroad for 8 years, and I can say what most conductors can't say. I never ran my train off the track, and I never lost a passenger." That is power. That is the witch of liberation.
Okay, real talk. Everything you just watched, I made that with Focal AI. No film crew, no fancy degree, just me, my laptop, and a whole lot of vision. If you want to try it, links in the description. Okay, back to the show.
All right, now let's talk about a woman who literally glowed with power. And I mean that almost literally. Marie Curie.
Oh no. Are we about to get into radioactive territory?
We absolutely are. Marie Curie was born Maria Sklodowska in 1867 in Warsaw, Poland. At the time, women in Poland were barred from attending university. So what did she do? She attended an illegal underground university. Yes, a secret school. And then moved to Paris to study at the Sorbonne, where she was one of very few women.
She earned degrees in both physics and mathematics, and she graduated first in her physics class. She later met Pierre Curie, and together they began researching radioactivity, a term that Marie herself coined.
Let me say that again. The word radioactivity exists because Marie Curie invented it. She discovered 2 new elements, polonium, which she named after her homeland, and radium. She worked in a shed, a literal converted shed with no proper ventilation, no safety equipment, stirring vats of radioactive material with her bare hands.
That sounds really dangerous.
It was. It absolutely was. And it eventually contributed to her death. But Marie didn't stop. In 1903, she became the first woman ever to win a Nobel Prize in physics, shared with Pierre and Henri Becquerel. And then in 1911, she won a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, all on her own. She remains the only person in history to win Nobel Prizes in 2 different sciences.
2 Nobel Prizes. I can't even win an argument with a seagull.
During World War I, Marie developed mobile X-ray units. She called them Petites Curies and drove them to the front lines herself to help doctors locate bullets and shrapnel inside wounded soldiers. She trained other women to operate them too. She saved countless lives.
Her personal notebooks are still so radioactive that they're kept in lead-lined boxes in France. Researchers must wear protective clothing to handle them. They will remain radioactive for another 1,500 years.
1,500 years. Marie Curie's legacy is literally still radiating. She broke every ceiling, every barrier, every expectation. And she did it in a shed, with a dream and an unstoppable mind. The Witch of Discovery. Now, my loves, let's travel to Mexico, to a woman who turned her pain into the most powerful art the world has ever seen. Frida Kahlo.
Oh, the one with the flowers in her hair.
That's her. But there is so much more to Frida than flowers. Frida was born in 1907 in Coyoacan, Mexico. When she was 6, she contracted polio, which left one of her legs thinner than the other. Kids bullied her relentlessly. And then, at 18, she was in a horrific bus accident that shattered her spine, her pelvis, her collarbone. She was impaled by a steel handrail. Doctors didn't think she'd survive.
And she did survive?
She survived. And while she was bedridden, unable to move, her mother built her a special easel and hung a mirror above her bed. And Frida began to paint. She painted what she saw, herself, her pain, her body, her truth.
Over her lifetime, Frida created approximately 200 paintings, 55 of which were self-portraits. She said, "I paint myself because I am so often alone, and because I am the subject I know best."
And she didn't paint pretty, sanitized versions of herself. She painted her suffering, her surgeries, her miscarriages, her heartbreak. She painted her unibrow and her mustache and her indigenous features with absolute pride, at a time when European beauty standards dominated everything. She wore traditional Tehuana dresses, wove flowers into her braided hair, and basically said, "This is what beauty looks like. Deal with it."
I love her so much.
She was fierce, she was unapologetic, and she used art as her spell. Every painting was an incantation, transforming agony into something breathtaking. Frida Kahlo was the witch of self-expression. She taught us that our scars, our differences, the things the world tells us to hide, those are our greatest sources of power. Our last woman takes us to Kenya, and honestly, she might be the most witchy of them all, because her magic was rooted, literally, in the earth. Wangari Maathai.
Wangari Maathai was the first woman in East and Central Africa to earn a doctoral degree. In 1977, she founded the Green Belt movement, which empowered rural women to plant trees to combat deforestation, soil erosion, and water scarcity. Under her leadership, the movement planted over 51 million trees across Kenya.
51 million trees. Think about that. And it wasn't just about the environment, it was about giving women power. She trained women to run their own tree nurseries, earn their own income, and take ownership of their land. She connected environmental justice with women's rights in a way nobody had done before.
51 million trees. That's actually incredible.
In 2004, she became the first African woman to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. And she didn't slow down. She kept fighting, kept planting, kept speaking out against corruption and injustice until her passing in 2011. She once said, "It's the little things citizens do. That's what will make the difference. My little thing is planting trees."
That's so beautiful.
Wangari Maathai was the witch of the earth. She understood that real magic starts with putting your hands in the soil and growing something. So there they are, my loves. Hypatia, Harriet, Marie, Frida, and Wangari. 5 women, 5 different centuries, 5 different corners of the world. And every single one of them was a witch in her own right.
They wielded knowledge, courage, discovery, expression, and nature as their instruments of change.
They didn't wait for permission. They didn't shrink. They didn't ask the world if it was ready for them. They just showed up and changed it anyway. And that is the kind of magic I want every single one of you to carry with you today.
All right, I'll admit it. That was actually really moving. Don't tell anyone I said that.
Cosmo has feelings!
I said don't tell anyone!
Happy Women's Day, witches! Honor the women who came before you. Honor the women beside you. And most importantly, honor the woman you are right now. She is powerful. She is magic. And she is enough. Light a candle tonight. Say their names. And remember, love thyself, witch. Always.
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 We'll see you in the next one.
I'm Lunetta Karkina. If this helped, like and follow so we can build your sanctuary together. I'll see you in the moonlight.
Witches, I know life gets tough, but I want you all to stay safe and protected in all you do. I've made this space for us, and we can share our crafts and practices. I love hearing about how everyone honors their craft. Feel free to leave comments and suggestions.
Under the moon and the stars so bright, we claim our power and
Welcome
love
to
our
Love
light.
Thyself Witch.